Hi, I'm Andre The Beast, and welcome to the Andre The Beast Show. On this episode, we're going to talk to one of my dearest friends, Robin Munro. Let me give you a little bit of insight on where we're going with today's topic, today's episode. In relationships, and trust me, I don't really talk about relationships on the social media because that's almost like taboo for me. But this episode right here is going to be so impact with information and true life situations that you're going to be like, oh my God, what the blah, 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 blah is happening here. But it's also an episode that is going to impact, make you reevaluate people that you come in contact with or people that enter your lives. It's going to make you self-aware of people you come in contact with. It's going to teach you values. It's going to teach you strength. And it's definitely going to motivate you. Without further ado, all the way from Dallas, Texas, home of my favorite NFL football team, the Dallas Cowboys. That's welcome to the studio, Robin Munro. Hey, Robin, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me today.
How'd you like that intro? Didn't it sound good?
It sounds wonderful.
Robin Munro from Dallas, Texas. But really, you're not from Dallas, Texas. You're from Indiana. Let me finish. I was born in a small town. Hey, Jason.
I thought we agreed that you weren't going to do any singing on this podcast, Andre.
He just couldn't help himself. You know what? Indianapolis isn't a small town anymore, but when I was growing up, it really was. But yeah, I was born and raised in Indianapolis, Indiana, and I left in 91 and moved to Dallas.
So why'd you leave in 91? I mean,
Actually, Houston. I'm sorry, I'm confused. I moved to Texas. I moved to Houston in 91.
Okay.
I met my ex-husband when I was a pharmaceutical rep in Indiana through a physician that prescribed a lot of my drug that I was promoting at the time. And he was finishing up his internal medicine residency in Springfield, Illinois. Met him through the doctor that, I did well with the pharmaceuticals. He liked me, whatever. So met his friend, dated 4 months, and moved to Houston, Texas in 1991.
And pretty much lived a pretty fabulous life there. And if I'm not mistaken, well-to-do, 2 career-oriented individuals in a nice suburban area. And then things began to unravel.
You said it better than I did. I was about to say that, but you did it for me. Absolutely. So, but just to go back a little bit, when I moved to Houston, he was doing his cardiology fellowship. So I was the one that was making the money, not him. So he was in training. Right. And then even after a year or two, I was fortunate enough to get on with a medical device, a company that sold ICU monitors, which was Hewlett Packard at the time. They had a medical division. So I was able to work with him. And again, I made a very good income. So he was still in
What's a very good income?
So I was the moneymaker and he was not. And then we were married. And then when he got into a practice here in Dallas, Texas in 1995 is when we moved to Dallas. Mm-hmm. And yeah, absolutely. I continued to work even when he was in practice. So yeah, we did a great life. We had a great life. I didn't stop working until I got pregnant with our son. So I worked for, I want to say 7 years when he was in our marriage, when he was still when he was in finishing up school or his fellowship and then going into practice.
You mentioned a very good income. Like, what are we talking about? Very good income. You know, I want to know how much money you was making. What was you making?
So you're
When-
so personal.
when it was all
Hey,
said and-
I like being
Wow.
personal. How much money?
No, when it was all said and done, after we had our son and moved into our second home on Lake Louisville, it's like moving on ice in those beautiful homes. It's
Like I said,
Louisville.
how much money was you making?
Enough.
Yeah, you living in Geist. You're bankrolling out there in Texas. Okay, so you was the breadwinner, and he was going through his schooling,
Fellowship.
his
Mhm.
fellowship. Then what transpired?
Everything was fine up until it was this mysterious text message. We were on a family vacation in La Jolla or La Costa, the resort is where we were, and we were waiting on a family to come in from Dallas because we were going to leave the next day, and they were coming in, and we were going to have dinner. So I asked my son to look at his father's phone because it was odd they haven't called yet, and they should have landed like 4 hours prior. So he said, "Hey, Mom, this is a weird message." And I snatched the phone, and it said, "Hi, you sexy 52-year-old, I'm horny for you." And that opened up Pandora's box.
Wow. When it opened up Pandora's box, then what did Pandora do?
Pandora had more boxes that needed to be opened. So when we got home, well, hindsight 2020, you never pay. I didn't pay attention to comments, body language, disappearing, because when you're an interventional cardiologist and somebody has a heart attack in the middle of the night, you're calling the cath lab, you disappear, you go to the hospital. It's just normal.
Right.
So I never questioned disappearing in the middle of the night. In any event, there were just a lot of signs that I ignored, and the text message just brought to light a lot of things that were going on. In the last 8 years of my 20-year marriage, I had no idea that was going on.
When you realized that was going on, it had to be somewhat devastating. I know it had to be devastating. How did you? What was the next plan of operation? I mean, clearly you had your own career going at the same time. Did it affect your career? Did it affect the family? Did you just say, you know what, I'm going to deal with this internally so it doesn't affect my son? How was you able to maneuver and still hold your life together?
I wasn't able to maneuver because at that time he wanted me to stay at home. So I was a stay-at-home mom, and I gave up my career. So I was a stay-at-home mom when all of this was going on.
Wow. So then what led you to the inspiration of Pure Deception? Was it the book that you wrote? And I read the book. I was at your book signing here in Indianapolis when you flew in, and I read the book. The book was really mind-boggling. It's almost like a Nancy Drew mystery. The deeper you get back into the book, you go, is this shit really happening? What made you go to that journey to put this in book form to share with people what you had went through?
Well, first of all, I wasn't trying to write a book, but I went through a lot of therapy because let's just backtrack. It wasn't just a text message. If it was just a text message, I think I probably would have worked my way through it. It was beyond that. It was a sexual addiction. It was living a double life. It was doing IVF with a patient. It was all kinds. You read the book.
Yeah, back up.
It was just craziness.
What do you mean? Elaborate a little bit more on the sexual addiction and then that other three-letter word that you use. What exactly is that, so the viewers can know what that is?
So when we got home, I've always had access. I set up his email account, and when we were on vacation, I said, "You have over 6,000 emails. You need to erase some of these." Even on the vacation, he said, "Oh, that's fine. You're not going to find anything in there." When he said that, it didn't even resonate in my head anything was going on at that time. It didn't until after we got home. Mm-hmm. And I started to backtrack when we were on vacation because he didn't close the account or anything. And I noticed in his AOL account, he said he changed his Yahoo password. I'm like, he doesn't even have a Yahoo account. So I Googled, I clicked on the Yahoo password, said I forgot my password, sent it to the AOL account. When I got the password to go in the Yahoo account, Pandora's box opened up again. Sexual, women, young girls, websites, porn, all kinds of stuff. He lived at the strip clubs. He said he stopped doing it. He kept doing it. I mean, it was ongoing.
Did you feel like that there was something when you saw the sexual explicit stuff and the stuff that you talked about in the book and the stuff that that was ongoing from a female standpoint? Did you question your performances as a woman that may have triggered, or did you feel some type of like, what did I do that maybe wasn't fulfilling that he had to step out? Or how did you distinguish the difference between the addiction versus whether or not it was something that you might have done to lay him down?
He had the addiction way before. He had the addiction way before the marriage, and this is why, and this is the explanation. When we were not even married, but going to get married, and he was in his fellowship, the attending physicians would take the younger fellows out to the Rick's Club and all that. So he started getting addicted to strip clubs well before any of this. So I just thought it was a passing thing. That's what the docs do. You go out there, you do business deals, you do yada, yada, yada. I didn't think anything of it.
Right.
So when we got to Dallas and he did, and to be quite honest, I knew one of the owners of one of the big clubs and went to Aspen skiing with his girlfriend. And so it wasn't honestly, I didn't even think of it that way because I knew some of these people.
Right.
He just took it to a whole nother level and it really became an addiction. It became an addiction. Did
you then decide to, now you're dealing with, this is your husband, you helped him through school, you now realize that it is an addiction, and naturally I'm pretty sure your first thought was, I'm not going to leave my man, I'm not going to disassemble my family. You're still hurt. Do you then treat the addiction and try to keep your family intact? I'm just hypothetically.
No, I understand what you're saying, but it went beyond that. It went beyond. It was beyond addiction. Okay, so you have that.
Mm-hmm.
You could have had 4 DUIs. You only got 1 because you're so charismatic. They would just call me, tell me to pick him up, take his license, park his car, bring him home. No big deal. Here's the problem: you started having sex with your patients.
So now the addiction is spiraling out of control.
You're having sex with your patients, and then one of them is dating a high-profile older man at my son's private school. So if you get pregnant, it's now from him. So they do what's called in vitro fertilization. He was doing IVF with this particular patient. Mm-hmm. So if she did get pregnant, they could say it was IVF.
Wow. So that's some serious plotting at the same time to cover the tracks.
Right.
When did going through this, and I know this is bringing back memories. I'm not trying to do that. Like I said, when we first met and I read the book, I was like, wow, this is very, very impactful, and I'm pretty sure other women and even men have probably gone through this type of scenario. So
sure.
It's just not a female thing. How do you pick up the pieces? How did you pick up the pieces from going down that trail of self-destruction?
It's been so long. I actually don't know. I mean, if people ask me the same question you're asking me, I don't even know. I guess it's some kind of inner stream. I have no idea. Because, I mean, there were times I locked myself after I drove my kids to private school and would drive 40 minutes back home. I'd go in my closet and cry and just stay there and then get myself together to go and pick them up. Honestly, I went through therapy.
Right.
Because I had a nervous breakdown. My girlfriend took me to Miami Beach. That was crazy. It's in the book.
Right.
because he saw the crazy individuals we met. Because honestly, I just wanted to get rid of him. I'm like, you're going to destroy me and do all these things, and I didn't do anything to you. And I don't understand this behavior and why you want to break up your family. And so in any event,
have you even had any closure with him to talk about the situation?
No, I invited him to our son's graduation last year, June 2019. Thank God there was no COVID back then.
Right.
He attended. I shook his hand and thanked him for coming, but he doesn't have a good relationship with his son. So
you think that's part of, I'm not a therapist, so maybe denying narcissism rolled into one?
Right. He was very and still is. He acts like he's done absolutely nothing.
So if he acts like that, nothing has been done. So the narcissistic side of the individual will be to divert and to say, well, you didn't do something.
Oh, he did.
So what did you, what was it? I guess that's where we was going with the other question. So what was it that individual said that you didn't do, that you knew you did?
Well, before all that happened, I was a great mother. I was great this and that. But then when he was exposed, I was crazy. He feared for his life. That's why he had to leave. I was like, really? Wow. Okay. Yeah.
Wow. That's you can see why I had to have you on here, because I know a beast mentality in the female side of a beast, and I know that's what you are. So when I saw that book and we talked and I read, I was like, man, that's down here. How in the hell are you going to get back to here, and how you going to stay here? And you've done that. So tell me, how did let's put that aside, because I know that's emotional, but in order to get the viewers to understand where we're going from, you was already here in your beast mentality, from working, right, making the money, living like you're at Geist, and all of a sudden, for those that don't know, if you ain't Geist, you got some cheese, So you're here, and all of a sudden, boom. Mm-hmm. What were the steps that you took? And I know it wasn't an overnight sensation. What was some of those things? Because somebody's out there is listening, and they're going to ask, what did you do? And how long did it take you to go from here to here through this escapade? Because people that, it's funny, somebody's always telling your story from their point of view, but right now you're telling it from the actual perspective. Somebody go back, well, Robin knew this, well, Robin, blah, blah, blah. Okay, what did Robin do now to move forward with her life to say, you know what, I'm not going to let this tear me down. I'm going back to that beast level of who I really was.
I just had to pick myself up. Because honestly, I wasn't a beast. I was letting it tear me down. It was just like one day, I had all these bags and sticky notes. I don't know if you ever saw the Being Mary Jane on BET with all the stickies. I had all these sticky notes. I had journals. I had everything from my therapy. I had bags of it. So I just dumped it out one day. I looked at it and I got so mad. I was like, this is the life I'm living. I had girlfriends that, they didn't want to deal with me because they felt like I had a disease and they were going to get it. Then I had some friends I didn't realize that were my friends, and they stuck by me. And so anyway, I'm going through all this stuff, and I got angry about it. I got on my computer and I just started writing. It was like therapy for me just to write down how I felt. So I can't even remember who it was that was reading what I was writing putting in the computer. And she was like, she goes, first of all, this is a Lifetime movie. And second of all, you probably need to write a book. So I was like, I don't know how to write a book. So anyway, honestly, I started writing, and then I just started thinking about how I felt. And I decided to attach a quote to how I felt. So then I just took how I felt and put a quote to it. And then I just started to outline, and I was like, this is a book. And I literally started at the beginning. So my first chapter of my book is called Lies, Betrayal, and Deceit. How I found that infamous text message. And then the second chapter is in the beginning, how we met. I did it in chronological order and how I found out all these things. But then I also went back to, there were a lot of signs there that I totally missed. I've met so many ladies and so many individuals that relate to my story. I'm in shock. I met a young lady I worked with briefly the earlier part of this year. We still talk. We're good friends. She just texted me last week. She goes, she's in Houston. We need to get together. She goes, your story is my story. And she shared it with me. And I was like, what? I mean, she was here and went down to here and, still trying to get back up just like me. She didn't write a book, but she read my book and she said, I had to put it down. And I was crying because this is my story. She said, I was married 17 years. This man is one of the biggest architects. We traveled the world. We did this, da, da, da. And then boom. Yep. Same thing happened. But I think when you're living that life, sometimes you don't pay attention. And she and I both over drinks discussed that there are some individuals that know these things are going on and they decide they want to stay because they don't know anything else. And what are they going to do if they don't have that? Like I told you before we got on the air, I'm half Jamaican. My father did not raise me that way, and I wasn't going to put up with it, even though it was an extreme struggle for me. I just was not going to put up with it. And she was like that too. But there's certain individuals, they're not going to do that. They're going to stay and do whatever it takes because, there's maybe they don't think they can do it on their own or they just don't have self-respect. I don't know. But she and I had a long conversation and we just mesh because she was like, girl, we have the same story. And I met other people that share that, and men too. Men have inboxed me on Facebook about their experience, which totally shocked me because I always thought it was more of a female thing, but it really is not. It's a universal thing.
Did you keep this from your family?
Yeah, for about 4 or 5 months. I was totally embarrassed. Totally embarrassed because this wasn't supposed to happen to me.
How is it affecting your son? Now, I know he's graduated. I follow. He's graduated, getting ready to go to college.
He is doing amazing. No, but I'm going to be honest. When we were going through the divorce, he was very confused, didn't really understand. He would see things and kind of like, Then becoming a teenager and freshman, sophomore year, he just went nuts and crazy. I didn't think the child was going to graduate. I thought he was going to end up in jail. He was just a nut.
So
his junior year, when his dad didn't want to pay for him to go to his private school, and he was there from kindergarten to 10th grade. His junior year, and he went to public school, he encountered some very seedy individuals he thought were friends, and they weren't, and that was going to be his demise. But I fought for my son. I mean, he's been my first priority through all of this. It wasn't about me. It was about him. Yes, I made bad decisions when it came to co-parenting, and because I couldn't co-parent with somebody crazy. I couldn't do it. And I couldn't co-parent with somebody that was so disrespectful. But so I took upon myself that I was going to raise my son and be the mom and the dad. Some people are going to disagree with me. That's fine. But that's what I did. So I fought for him. And he did graduate. He did well in school. He got a scholarship, half scholarship. He's on the tennis team at Millikan University in Decatur, Illinois. He's a biology pre-med. He's on the dean's list. And I'm thrilled.
Good. You mentioned the co-parenting. Did it because of the situations that had happened? Was it by choice that you didn't want to do the co-parenting, or did the legal system step in and say you had to do co-parenting with when this was going on, or did you just decide, based on what has happened to me, I'm just not going to deal with the co-parenting. I'm going to try to...
Oh, no. I followed the law. I mean, he had visitation with his dad.
Okay.
But his visitation, I didn't know until he was a little bit older. He was like, I would go over there. He'd have whoever it was he was with, and I'd be in my room, and that was his visitation.
Isolation.
Pretty much.
Okay.
I did not know that until he was in his sophomore year.
So with all that going on, you've now embarked... It's been a couple of years because people need to realize that book came out in what year did that book go viral?
It was actually around the 30th of December 2016, and then I started doing signings in 2017. So I was in Indianapolis in March. I was in Atlanta twice in June and July.
Right.
And I did a lot of podcasts here in Dallas with various individuals here. And then my second book, which let me back up. The first book, I want to say 50% of it is based on my experience. It's what happened to me.
Right.
And the rest I embellished and just made it even crazier. That's why people were confused, because they didn't know what was true and what wasn't, because it was so entirely just unbelievable. So that was the first book, Pure Deception. And so if you've read Pure Deception, the second book, Pure Revenge, is 90% fiction. I just took it to a whole nother level.
Mm-hmm.
And I was going to write a third book and make it a trilogy.
Right.
But I was approached by a Facebook friend who's in the industry, and met with Global Genesis Group, and they decided to sign me to do distribution. I'm not a screenwriter, so I worked with Jeff Stroy to screenwrite.
Okay. So
and Ken Horde, who wrote Highlander, I met with him and he said it sucked. So I laughed in our meeting. I said, yeah, I'm not a screenwriter, but anyway, we're in the process of rewriting the script that that I had written. And with COVID, everything's kind of stopped, which is okay.
Mm-hmm.
And it's gonna happen. So they want to do a TV pilot, and they want to call it Pure Deception.
Who's playing your ex?
We have a lot of. I had a little wish list. I think Blair Underwood would be actually
Blair
good.
Underwood. Hey, whose show are you on here?
No. And Stephen Bishop. I like Stephen Bishop. Actually, he played in Temptation.
Okay.
He plays a really good, smooth, he can do it, nothing wrong, but he is very underhanded. So I need somebody that's smooth, but they're very deceiving. So, and I have some other people too, but okay. I like Stephen Bishop actually, because in Temptation, I saw that movie and I was like, that's my ex right there. So anyway.
Okay, I figured you were going to say Denzel Washington.
No, no.
Okay.
And there's
Blair Underwood is nice, yeah. There's
a lot of young actors out there that are so good. I mean, I watch all kinds of shows and I'm like, who is he? And I look at his IMDb and see what he's done. And yeah, so it'll probably, who knows what the cast is going to be. But so I've written already 8 episodes to do a series. So it's just in a hold pattern right now, which I'm okay, because I'm really, my focus was getting my kiddo in school, and, he wanted to play collegiate tennis and that worked out for him. So he's good. Now it's back to me again. So how can our listeners get a copy of this of the Pure Deception? Is it still available? They can get both Pure Deception and Pure Revenge on Amazon or Kindle. That's where they can also order it at Barnes and Nobles. It's not on the shelf, but if you go to Barnes and Nobles, you can order it.
Give us a little bit of insight on the second one, the second book. You said it's a little bit more of a,
revenge.
Yeah, revenge.
Okay, so I'm gonna read you because I don't want to tell them what happened at the end of Pure Deception, because obviously that's not what really happened. It's fiction. But I went ahead and I did a segue to it to get you kind of wanting to read Pure Revenge.
Okay.
So the first, the prelude is, what is pure revenge? Well, it is the highest level anyone can accomplish when they set out to make an individual pay the ultimate price for how they feel they were wrong. That is what Dr. Richard Casey pursued during the course of an ugly divorce when his wife, Amanda Casey, discovered he was having inappropriate relationships with patients, amongst other indiscretions. Instead of facing the truth, he hid behind his lies and denied doing anything wrong. With that being said, he sought out revenge on her. He was like a thief attempting to accomplish the biggest heist, but unfortunately, he got caught. He was a sore loser and took it to a level that was unimaginable. In the end, he fell on his own sword in the book Pure Deception, but still refused to be defeated. So now he's seeking revenge again in a different way. On the other side of the coin was Amanda. She was fighting at every turn, angle, and punch brought to her, and she was relentless, trying to circumvent the revenge that was originally initiated towards her. She had to use revenge to protect herself, not as a dagger like Dick to get back at anyone. It was her tactic as a survival mechanism in this battlefield of a divorce to maneuver through the landmine she had to dodge and grenades thrown her way. Be very careful when seeking revenge. Beware of the old adage, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. It can cause mental fixation to the point you are incapacitated to make sound decisions. Seeking revenge is tactical and planned. It has to be executed to the utmost precision, or it will turn on you, and you are the one getting burned. Be careful with revenge. It is not for all to see and all to handle, coming out smelling like a rose in the end.
That is really that's really powerful.
That's it. That's how the book starts, and then the first chapter is new beginnings.
Wow, that is like really, really deep. So, moving forward, before we end our show, you're doing another project now. You're ghostwriting.
I'm ghostwriting for a radio personality. I don't want to say her name yet. She's in the Hall of Fame. She reached out to me. She was here in Dallas a long time ago. I wouldn't say long time ago, but she left Dallas and we reconnected, and she read my books and loved it. And she, she has a stellar career. She's done so much, and she wants to write a biography. Right. So I've already done the first pass, and actually we're going to be working on it next week again. So I am ghostwriting.
What's the difference? And from you wasn't planning on being a writer, and it's really funny because this show is about Beast, and and I'm listening. Every guest I've ever had on, man, it's been remarkable with what they've gone through. But here it is, you was in the corporate world, family, married, all of a sudden got to change gears during the most tragic time, become a writer. Wasn't even on your list, but you navigated because you knew you had something to share. Writing another book, now you're ghostwriting. So when you're ghostwriting, what experience are you bringing into that form to be a ghostwriter? What's the difference?
There is a difference. The only thing is that I do like that what we're doing that's different is that she is speaking to me and she sends the audio to me, and then I can hear the inflection in her voice, and so I'm writing what she's saying, and then I go back and change it. So it's a little bit different because it's her story and not mine. But I told her I like the fact that it's on audio because I can hear the pain about certain things. I can hear the happiness in her voice about certain things, inflection, all those different things. And she looks at it and goes, wow, you changed this up. But that's how I really felt. So it's a little bit different, but I actually enjoy it. So, and it's a challenge, but I like the fact that it's on audio. Some people will send you something and then you edit it and look at it, and just listening to it on audio is a little bit different. So that's how we're approaching me ghostwriting for her.
I feel you 100% because I know the viewers and the listeners are going, wow, you can hear the pain in your interview, you can hear the recovery in your interview, you can hear the happiness in your interview, but more importantly, you can hear the rejoice in your interview. I like that a lot. I'm privileged to have had the opportunity over the years to have gotten to know you, to follow your career, to be a part of that career, to be a support to your career. You've definitely been an inspiration to both men and women throughout your journey. Hope that you continue to do wonderful things, and with that said, come back on the show. Love to have you back on and share with us some more of your ventures, and don't forget you're writing the book Daddy Don't Cry.
You know what, just really quickly, because I don't think I really told viewers, there's just a couple of takeaways, like when you're going through a trying time, whether it's divorce or it's a job situation or whatever, sometimes the takeaways are we just need to pay attention to signs that something is amiss, and that's something I didn't do. You just have to pay attention. It's not like to be paranoid. Pay attention to the signs. And if someone wants to walk away from you, let them walk. I mean, as difficult as it can be, you can turn your pain into purpose. And, you know, you support your friends that are going through something. Don't run away just because they're going through it. It's not like a disease, like it's going to happen to you. You need to lift your friends up. And then finally, no matter how bad it gets, always remember karma has no deadline.
You know, that's true. That was beautifully said. So with that, now you're in a relationship. Are you gonna forgive the guy that blew up your smoothie? They don't know that.
You know what? It's so interesting, you know, because this whole situation really put my self-esteem to like the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah.
And there's sometimes, you know, everybody sees me like, oh, she just has it all together. And there's times, you know, it may appear that way, but I don't. And just a really nice person. And it's like, I was like, do I look nice? He was like, you look nice, but it's all about what's inside of you.
Right.
It's what's inside of you. So I get all those like coaching skills from him.
Okay.
So I didn't even freak out. I mean, I did about the kitchen being blown up, but any other time I probably would have freaked out. And I was just like, oh, okay, we'll just have to get it cleaned up.
Well, I mean, purple. Well, you said pink.
It's pink.
Pink
It's
smoothie,
all pink.
all on your walls. You know,
on dark hardwood cabinets, just pink everywhere.
Well, with that said, I know you have definitely gotten back in the beast frame of mind.
Andre, there was one thing that really resonated with me, especially with the passing of Chadwick Boseman, that I didn't get to say, and I really wanted to say because I felt this. He did a 2018 commencement speech at Howard University, and quote unquote, he said, "The struggles along the way are only meant to shape you for your purpose." And I read that and I just bawled today.
Yeah,
because I felt that.
That was very troubling for, I believe, the whole world when the passing of that young man at such a young age. I think it also goes to show that a lot of people didn't know that, and that he didn't know it. We just felt from his movies and what he brought to the screen that he was strong and he was this, that, and the other. But deep down inside, he was going through some serious stuff. And I think we as individuals need to realize that life is very, very precious, and each day should be treated as such. And with everything that we're dealing with in the world, with the pandemic, with racial tension, with the legal system, with law enforcement, we need to all take a moment and look in the mirror and say, did I listen to somebody today? Did I make a change with somebody today? Did I make somebody smile today? More importantly, did I make a difference with not only myself today, but did I make a difference in somebody else's life today? Because life is too short. The death of him should be an inspiration for people to reevaluate, to look at themselves and say, I need to make a difference. We need to stop the bullshit. We're grown individuals. We are privileged to be in the United States. We're privileged to be a part of the human race.
Absolutely.
And we need to learn from these tragedies instead of making tragedies.
Yep.
I like what you just said. That's very important. And you know, my heart goes out to you. Not in a way of feeling pain, but the fact that you was able to persevere, stay in that beast frame of mind, play it forward, build and support and keep your family and your friends strong. And you said something that kind of dawned on me when you was like, you know, some of my friends dropped off. You know, they were never your friends.
Right.
Because friends listen, friends support, friends don't judge, friends listen and they understand and they don't criticize. They support. So you know what? You didn't lose nothing. You really gained a better group of friends, a better group of supporters. With that said, I want to say thank you for being on the show. Please come back again on the show. Please come back. We'd love to have you. And thanks for being on the Andre the Beast Show.
Thank you.